Meister Eckhart, a name synonymous with Christian mysticism, emerged from humble beginnings. His teachings and writings have left an indelible mark on the spiritual landscape, influencing countless seekers and scholars throughout the centuries. Born around 1260 in Hochheim, Germany, his life journey began like many others of his time. Hochheim, a quaint village with its cobblestone streets and medieval charm, was the backdrop of Eckhart's early years. It was here that the seeds of his spiritual journey were first sown. Little did anyone know, this seemingly ordinary boy would grow to challenge, provoke, and inspire spiritual seekers for centuries to come. His contemplative nature and inquisitive mind set him apart from his peers, hinting at the profound impact he would eventually have on Christian thought. Eckhart's world was one steeped in religious tradition, a time when the Catholic Church held immense sway over the lives of everyday people. The church was not just a place of worship, but a central pillar of community life, guiding moral and ethical conduct. From a young age, Eckhart displayed a thirst for knowledge and a deep connection to the divine. His curiosity led him to explore religious texts, seeking answers to the profound questions that stirred within his soul. This led him to embark on a path of religious study, a journey that would shape his destiny and leave an indelible mark on the history of Christian thought. His studies were rigorous, demanding both intellectual and spiritual discipline. Imagine a young Eckhart, his heart filled with yearning, drawn to the mysteries of faith. His prayers were not mere recitations, but deep, heartfelt conversations with the divine, seeking to understand the mysteries of existence. He felt the pull of something greater than himself, a calling that whispered of a deeper truth hidden within the folds of traditional religion. This inner calling was a beacon, guiding him through the complexities of theological study and spiritual practice. Eckhart's early life remains shrouded in some mystery, with only fragments of information surviving the passage of time. These fragments, though sparse, offer glimpses into the formative years of a mind that would later revolutionize Christian mysticism. Yet, we can piece together a picture of a young man driven by an unquenchable desire to understand the nature of God and humanity's relationship to the divine. His studies were not confined to the classroom. They extended into the quiet moments of reflection and prayer. This pursuit led him to join the Dominican order, a Catholic mendicant order known for its intellectual rigor and dedication to preaching. The Dominicans were renowned for their scholarly pursuits, and Eckhart found a community that nurtured his intellectual and spiritual growth. It was within the hallowed halls of the Dominican order that Eckhart's intellectual prowess and spiritual depth truly began to flourish. The order's emphasis on study, contemplation, and preaching provided the perfect environment for his ideas to develop. The Dominicans, with their emphasis on study and contemplation, provided fertile ground for Eckhart's ideas to take root and blossom. His time with the Dominicans was marked by intense study, deep reflection, and a growing sense of his spiritual mission. He immersed himself in Scripture, delving into the wisdom of the early Church Fathers and absorbing the teachings of great theologians like Thomas Aquinas. This immersion was not just academic, it was a profound spiritual journey that shaped his understanding of God and the universe. The Dominican order, with its emphasis on both intellect and piety, proved to be the perfect training ground for the burgeoning mystic. Eckhart embraced the Dominican precepts of study, prayer, and service, excelling in his academic pursuits and rising through the ranks of the order. He immersed himself in the works of great thinkers like Aristotle and Augustine, honing his philosophical skills and developing a keen intellect that would later characterize his writings and sermons. Eckhart's time within the Dominican order was marked by both intellectual growth and a deepening of his spiritual life. He received a rigorous education, studying at renowned Dominican institutions in Cologne and Paris, centers of learning that attracted some of the brightest minds of the era. These experiences exposed him to diverse theological perspectives, further fueling his intellectual curiosity and shaping his own unique understanding of Christian doctrine. As Eckhart delved deeper into his studies, he began to question, to probe beyond the surface of accepted dogma. He longed for a more direct, personal experience of the divine, an encounter that transcended the limitations of language and ritual. This yearning led him to explore the mystical traditions within Christianity, drawing inspiration from figures like Augustine, Bernard of Clairvaux, and Hildegard von Bingen. Eckhart's journey wasn't confined to the quiet solitude of the monastery. His superiors, recognizing his profound understanding of Scripture and his gift for eloquence, appointed him to various preaching positions throughout Germany. He traveled extensively, sharing his insights with diverse audiences, from simple peasants to learned scholars. Imagine Eckhart, a commanding presence in his Dominican habit, standing before a crowd, his voice resonating with conviction as he delivered his sermons. Eckhart's sermons weren't mere recitations of dogma, they were fiery, passionate calls to spiritual awakening. He possessed a rare ability to convey complex theological concepts in a way that resonated with people from all walks of life, using vivid imagery and everyday language to illuminate the path to God. He challenged his listeners to look within, to move beyond blind faith and seek a direct, unmediated experience of the divine. His words, however, often pushed the boundaries of accepted church doctrine. Eckhart's emphasis on the indwelling presence of God within the human soul, his assertions that we are all sparked with divinity, aroused suspicion and concern among some church authorities. His teachings, though deeply rooted in Christian tradition, challenged the established hierarchy and emphasized the potential for every individual to achieve union with God. Central to Eckhart's teachings was the revolutionary concept of the God within. He argued that God is not some distant deity residing in a far-off heaven, but an immanent presence dwelling within the depths of every human soul. This radical notion challenged the prevailing worldview, which often portrayed God as separate from creation and humanity, as inherently flawed and sinful. Eckhart boldly proclaimed that we are all created in the image and likeness of God, carrying within us a divine spark, a ground of the soul where God resides. He believed that this inner divinity is not something we need to earn or strive for. It is our true nature, always present, waiting to be discovered. He urged his listeners to silent contemplation, to strip away the layers of ego and worldly attachment that obscure this inherent divine essence. To find this God within, Eckhart taught, we must embark on a journey of inner transformation, a process of letting go of all that separates us from our true nature. This involves detaching from material possessions, silencing the clamor of the ego, and cultivating a state of inner stillness where we can directly experience the presence of God. His teachings offered a path to liberation, not through external rituals or blind faith, but through a radical transformation of consciousness. Eckhart's teachings, though controversial in his own time, resonate deeply with modern seekers. His emphasis on personal experience, his call to look within, aligns with the contemporary emphasis on mindfulness, self-awareness, and spiritual exploration. In a world often defined by external achievements and material pursuits, Eckhart's message of inner transformation offers a refreshing alternative. He reminds us that true fulfillment lies not in accumulating wealth or status, but in cultivating a deep and abiding connection with the divine within. His teachings provide a roadmap for navigating the complexities of modern life, offering solace, guidance, and a path to lasting peace and fulfillment. His words continue to inspire, challenging us to embrace our inherent divinity and live lives of purpose, compassion, and love. In a world grappling with existential questions and searching for meaning in an age of uncertainty, Eckhart's message of hope and empowerment continues to offer solace and guidance. His teachings transcend the boundaries of time and culture, reminding us of the transformative power of spiritual awakening and the profound potential that lies dormant within each and every one of us. Eckhart's teachings invite us on an inward journey, a pilgrimage to the very heart of our being where God resides. He challenges our conventional understanding of God as a distant entity, urging us to seek the divine not in the heavens above, but in the depths of our own souls. This journey, he assures us, is not about acquiring something external, but about removing the obstacles that veil our true nature. Imagine stripping away layers of conditioning, societal expectations, and limiting beliefs, revealing the radiant divinity that lies hidden beneath. It's a process of letting go, of surrendering to the truth of who we truly are, beings made in the image and likeness of God. This journey requires courage, for it demands that we confront our shadows, our attachments, and our ego's relentless pursuit of recognition and control. Eckhart doesn't offer easy answers or a passive faith. He calls for active participation in our own spiritual awakening. He speaks of a breakthrough that occurs when we finally release our grip on the illusion of separation, the mistaken belief that we are somehow distinct from the divine source. This breakthrough is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process of surrendering to the present moment, to the flow of life as it unfolds. Central to Eckhart's path is the practice of detachment, not as a form of asceticism or denial of the world, but as a way of releasing our clinging to external things. He calls us to detach from material possessions, from our desires for recognition and power, even from our own thoughts and emotions. This detachment, he emphasizes, is not about suppressing or denying our humanity, but about shifting our focus from the fleeting to the eternal. Think of it as a gentle release, a loosening of the grip that our ego has on our perception of reality. By letting go of our attachments, we create space for the divine to emerge, for our true nature to shine through. This process of detachment is not about becoming indifferent or emotionless. It's about cultivating a sense of inner freedom, an unshakable peace that transcends the ups and downs of life. Eckhart uses the analogy of a mirror. When the mirror is covered in dust, it cannot reflect clearly. Similarly, when our minds are clouded by attachments, desires, and anxieties, we cannot perceive the divine reality that surrounds us and resides within us. Detachment, then, is the process of clearing the dust, of polishing the mirror of our hearts so that it can reflect the divine light in all its glory. Eckhart's concept of God's uncreated ground is a cornerstone of his mystical theology. This ground, he explains, is the very essence of God, the unmanifested source from which all creation arises. It's a realm beyond form, beyond language, beyond our limited human comprehension. Yet, paradoxically, it's also intimately present within each of us, the very ground of our being. Imagine a vast, boundless ocean from which countless waves arise and subside. The ocean itself remains unchanged, even as the waves dance and shimmer on its surface. Similarly, God's uncreated ground is the eternal, unchanging reality that underlies the ever-changing flux of creation. We, as individual expressions of this ground, are like the waves, unique and transient, yet inseparable from the source. Eckhart emphasizes that this ground is not something separate from us, but the very core of our being. It's the spark of the soul, the divine essence that animates us and connects us to all of creation. To access this ground, he teaches, we must go beyond the realm of thought, beyond the limitations of language, into the depths of silence and stillness. One of Eckhart's most audacious teachings is the concept of the birth of God in the soul. He challenges the traditional notion of God as a static, unchanging being, suggesting instead that God is constantly being born anew in the hearts of those who are open to receiving the divine. This birth, he explains, is not a physical event, but a spiritual transformation, a profound shift in consciousness. Imagine a seed planted in the fertile ground of the soul. With proper care and nourishment, the seed germinates, breaks through the darkness, and grows towards the light. Similarly, the divine spark within us, when nurtured through practices of prayer, meditation, and detachment, can blossom into a profound experience of union with God. This birth, Eckhart assures us, is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process, a continuous unfolding of the divine within us. It's a dance between our human efforts and God's grace, a surrender to the transformative power of love that resides at the heart of all creation. Through this ongoing birth, we become vessels of the divine, radiating love, compassion, and wisdom into the world. Eckhart's path to the God within begins with a radical shift in our relationship to time. He urges us to abandon our preoccupation with the past and our anxieties about the future, inviting us instead to embrace the present moment as the only true reality. This, he teaches, is where we encounter God. Not in some distant heaven or future state of enlightenment, but in the immediacy of our experience, here and now. Think of it this way. The past is gone. The future is uncertain, and the only thing we truly have is this present breath, this fleeting moment of awareness. By dwelling on past regrets or future worries, we miss the richness and fullness of life as it unfolds before us. Eckhart reminds us that God is not bound by time. God is eternally present in the now. To access this divine presence, we must cultivate a mindful awareness of the present moment, paying attention to our thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judgment or attachment. This practice of presence allows us to step out of the stream of habitual thinking and connect with the deeper currents of our being, where God resides. Eckhart recognized that our attachments to people, possessions, and ideas create a barrier between ourselves and the divine. He encourages us to practice letting go, not as a form of renunciation or denial, but as a way of freeing ourselves from the tyranny of our desires. This process of detachment, he teaches, is essential for spiritual growth, for it allows us to experience the freedom and joy that come from living in alignment with our true nature. Imagine holding tightly to a handful of sand. The more we squeeze, the more sand slips through our fingers. Similarly, clinging to things, people, and ideas only creates suffering, for everything in the material world is impermanent and subject to change. Letting go, then, is not about losing anything of real value, but about releasing our grip on that which no longer serves us. This practice requires courage and compassion, for it often involves confronting our fears and insecurities. But as we learn to let go of what we think we need, we open ourselves to receiving something far greater, the boundless love and grace of the divine. In the midst of our busy lives, our minds are often caught in a whirlwind of thoughts, plans, and worries. Eckhart teaches that finding God within requires cultivating inner stillness, a state of quiet contemplation where we can silence the chatter of the ego and listen to the whispers of the divine. This stillness, he emphasizes, is not about emptying the mind completely, but about creating a space for deeper awareness to emerge. Think of it this way. Imagine a lake whose surface is constantly agitated by wind and rain. It's only when the storm subsides and the waters become still that we can see the beauty and depth that lie beneath. Similarly, our minds, when constantly bombarded by external stimuli and internal chatter, obscure the clarity and wisdom of our true nature. Through practices like meditation, prayer, or simply spending time in nature, we can begin to calm the storms of the mind and cultivate a sense of inner peace. This stillness allows us to connect with the ground of our being, the source of all peace, love, and wisdom. Eckhart's emphasis on detachment might seem paradoxical in a world that often equates happiness with acquiring more. However, he clarifies that detachment is not about denying ourselves the pleasures of life, but about shifting our focus from external gratification to inner fulfillment. It's about recognizing that true happiness and lasting peace come not from what we possess, but from who we are at our core. Imagine the difference between chasing after fleeting pleasures and cultivating a deep well of joy within. When we attach our happiness to external circumstances, we become slaves to our desires, constantly seeking the next thrill, the next acquisition, the next validation. This endless pursuit leaves us feeling empty and unfulfilled. Detachment, on the other hand, frees us from this cycle of craving and aversion. By releasing our attachment to outcomes, we open ourselves to experiencing the present moment with greater peace and contentment. This doesn't mean we become indifferent to life's ups and downs, but that we learn to ride the waves of experience with greater equanimity, knowing that our true source of joy lies within. Section 5. Finding freedom in surrender. Surrender, in Eckhart's view, is not about weakness or resignation, but about aligning our will with the divine will. It's about letting go of our need to control, to manipulate, to force life to conform to our expectations. This act of surrender, he teaches, is not a defeat, but a profound liberation, for it allows us to tap into a power far greater than our own. Imagine a sailboat caught in a raging storm. The captain can struggle against the wind and waves, risking shipwreck, or they can surrender to the forces of nature, adjusting the sails to harness the wind's power and navigate through the storm. Similarly, when we surrender our ego's desires and agendas to the wisdom of the divine, we open ourselves to a guidance and support that surpasses our limited human understanding. This doesn't mean we become passive or deny our agency. It means we act in alignment with a higher purpose, trusting that we are guided and supported even when we can't see the path ahead. Surrender, in this sense, is not about giving up, but about showing up with an open heart, ready to receive the grace and guidance that are always available to us. Section 1. Eckhart's enduring relevance. Meister Eckhart, a 13th century mystic, might seem like an unlikely guide for our modern times. Yet his teachings on the God within, on detachment and surrender, resonate with a surprising urgency in our increasingly secular and technology-driven world. We are, as Eckhart observed in his own time, a society often preoccupied with external achievements, material possessions, and the relentless pursuit of pleasure and recognition. This outward focus, Eckhart argued, leaves us feeling spiritually empty, longing for a deeper connection with something beyond the material world. His teachings offer a path to rediscovering this lost connection, not through blind faith or rigid dogma, but through a direct experience of the divine within. Eckhart's message is not bound by time or culture. It speaks to the universal longing for meaning, purpose, and connection that resides in the heart of every human being. In a world grappling with existential questions, searching for solace amidst uncertainty, Eckhart's wisdom offers a timeless compass for navigating the complexities of life. His teachings remind us that true fulfillment lies not in acquiring more, but in cultivating a deep and abiding connection with the source of all being. Section 2. A bridge between worlds. Eckhart's teachings serve as a bridge between the wisdom of the past and the challenges of the present. He was a scholar steeped in Christian tradition, well-versed in scripture and the writings of the early church fathers. Yet he was also a radical thinker who dared to challenge the limitations of dogma and hierarchy, emphasizing the direct, experiential nature of spiritual truth. His message transcends religious boundaries, speaking to a universal human experience that is as relevant today as it was in medieval Europe. Eckhart's emphasis on personal experience, inner transformation, and the indwelling presence of the divine aligns with the contemporary interest in mindfulness, meditation, and spiritual exploration. He reminds us that the path to awakening is not found in external rituals or blind adherence to doctrine, but in the quiet contemplation of our own hearts, where the divine spark resides. Eckhart's teachings offer a bridge between the sacred and the secular, inviting us to find the divine not only in places of worship, but also in the ordinary moments of our lives. In a world often dominated by scientific materialism and a focus on the quantifiable, Eckhart's mystical insights might seem out of place, yet his teachings offer a necessary counterbalance to the prevailing worldview, reminding us that there is more to reality than meets the eye. Eckhart's mysticism is not about escaping from the world, but about experiencing it more fully, with all our senses, with an open heart, and with a deep appreciation for the interconnectedness of all things. He invites us to look beyond the surface of appearances, to delve into the depths of our own being, to discover the hidden mystery that connects us to the divine and to all of creation. In an age of information overload, Eckhart's emphasis on silence and stillness provides a much-needed antidote to the constant noise and distractions of modern life. His teachings encourage us to unplug from the digital world, to turn our attention inward, to rediscover the peace and clarity that arise from connecting with the present moment. Eckhart's mysticism is not a retreat from reality, but a re-enchantment with it, an invitation to see the world with new eyes, to experience the sacred in the everyday. Eckhart lived in a time of religious and political turmoil, yet his message transcended the divisions of his day. He challenged the rigidity of dogma and the abuse of power within the church, emphasizing the importance of personal experience and the inherent dignity of every human being. His teachings resonate powerfully in our own time, where religious extremism, intolerance, and violence continue to plague our world. Eckhart reminds us that true spirituality is not about blind adherence to doctrine or the exclusion of those who are different. It's about cultivating a heart filled with love, compassion, and understanding, recognizing the divine spark that resides in every human soul. His message is a call for unity, for bridging the divides that separate us, for recognizing our interconnectedness as children of the same divine source. Eckhart's teachings offer a path to spiritual awakening that is not dependent on any particular belief system or religious affiliation. His message is for anyone who longs for a deeper connection with the divine, who seeks to live a more meaningful and fulfilling life, who yearns for a world where love and compassion prevail. Eckhart's teachings, though deeply philosophical, are ultimately about the language of the heart. He uses words not merely to convey information, but to evoke an experience, to awaken a remembrance of our true nature. His writings are filled with vivid imagery, paradoxes, and poetic metaphors that bypass the rational mind and speak directly to the soul. Eckhart understood that the divine mystery cannot be grasped solely through intellect or logic. It must be felt, intuited, experienced directly through the heart. He challenges us to move beyond the limitations of language, to cultivate a quiet receptivity, to listen to the whispers of wisdom that arise from the depths of our being. In a world often dominated by the rational and the material, Eckhart's emphasis on the language of the heart offers a refreshing alternative. His teachings remind us that there is a deeper wisdom, a more profound truth, that can only be accessed through the transformative power of love, compassion, and surrender. Section 6. Embracing the Sacred Feminine. While Eckhart lived in a time when the church held a patriarchal view of God, his teachings contain a subtle yet profound recognition of the feminine aspect of the divine. He speaks of God as both Father and Mother, emphasizing the nurturing, compassionate, and life-giving qualities of the divine. Eckhart's concept of letting go and surrendering can be seen as expressions of the feminine principle of receptivity and allowing. His emphasis on the birth of God in the soul also hints at the feminine archetype of creation and birthing. Though not explicitly stated, Eckhart's teachings offer a path to rediscovering the sacred feminine within each of us, regardless of gender. It's about cultivating qualities of receptivity, compassion, intuition, and interconnectedness, qualities that are often undervalued in a patriarchal society. By embracing the feminine aspect of the divine, we open ourselves to a more holistic and balanced experience of spirituality, one that honors both the masculine and feminine principles within us and within the cosmos. Section 7. A Call to Conscious Living. Eckhart's teachings are not just about personal transformation, they are a call to conscious living, to bringing the fruits of our spiritual practice into the world. He challenges us to live from a place of inner alignment, to let our actions flow from a deep connection with the divine within, This means acting with integrity, compassion, and a commitment to justice and peace. Eckhart's message is not about withdrawing from the world, but about engaging with it more fully, bringing the light of our awareness to bear on the challenges of our time. He reminds us that each of us has a role to play in the unfolding of creation, that our actions, however small, have ripple effects that extend far beyond ourselves. By living from the ground of our being, we become agents of positive change, contributing to the healing and transformation of ourselves, our communities, and our world. Section 8. The Power of Now. Eckhart's teachings emphasize the transformative power of the present moment. He reminds us that the past is gone, the future is uncertain, and the only true reality is the eternal now. He invites us to step out of the stream of habitual thinking, to release our regrets about the past and our anxieties about the future, and to fully embrace the immediacy of our experience. This practice of presence, Eckhart teaches, is not about emptying the mind, but about cultivating a quality of attention that is open, receptive, and non-judgmental. By bringing our full awareness to the present moment, we open ourselves to the richness and fullness of life as it unfolds before us. In a world that often glorifies busyness and productivity, Eckhart's message is a radical invitation to slow down, to savor each breath, to appreciate the simple gifts of life that are always available to us. Central to Eckhart's teachings is the belief that each of us carries a divine spark within, a ground of the soul where God resides. This spark, he asserts, is not something we need to earn or strive for. It is our true nature, always present, waiting to be discovered. Eckhart challenges us to look beyond the surface of our personalities, our thoughts, our emotions, to the deeper reality of who we truly are, beings made in the image and likeness of God. This recognition of our inherent divinity is not about ego inflation, but about aligning ourselves with the truth of our being, with the source of all love, wisdom, and power that resides within. By connecting with this divine spark, we tap into a wellspring of strength, courage, and inspiration. We begin to see ourselves and the world around us with new eyes, recognizing the interconnectedness of all things and our own potential to be agents of healing and transformation. Meister Eckhart's teachings, though rooted in the 13th century, continue to resonate with remarkable power and relevance in the 21st century. His message of the God within, of detachment and surrender, of finding the divine in the depths of our own being, speaks to a universal human longing for meaning, connection, and spiritual awakening. Eckhart's legacy is not a static set of doctrines, but a living tradition of inquiry, experience, and transformation. His teachings invite us to embark on our own inward journey, to discover the truth of who we are, and to live lives of greater purpose, compassion, and love. In a world often characterized by division, materialism, and spiritual hunger, Eckhart's message offers a beacon of hope, reminding us that the path to awakening is always open to us, right here, right now, in the depths of our own hearts. Meister Eckhart's life was a testament to the power of seeking, a journey fueled by an unquenchable thirst for the divine. He didn't offer easy answers or a passive faith. He challenged, provoked, and ignited a fire in the hearts of those who heard his words. Eckhart's legacy is not found in stone monuments or dusty scriptures, but in the countless lives touched by his radical vision of a God who dwells not in distant heavens, but in the depths of every human soul. Imagine a single candle flame, passed from one person to another, illuminating the darkness. That flame represents Eckhart's teachings, passed down through generations, igniting sparks of awakening in the hearts of spiritual seekers across the centuries. His words, like seeds planted in fertile ground, continue to sprout, blossom, and bear fruit in unexpected ways. Eckhart's legacy is not confined to monasteries or academic halls. It lives on in the quiet contemplation of a sunrise, in the compassionate embrace of a stranger, in the moments of awe and wonder that break through the mundane. His teachings remind us that the path to awakening is not a solitary pursuit, but a shared journey, a tapestry woven from the threads of countless lives all striving towards the light. Centuries have passed since Meister Eckhart's words first echoed through medieval churches, yet his message remains strikingly relevant in our modern age. We live in a world saturated with information, yet often starved for wisdom. We chase after external achievements, yet yearn for a deeper sense of purpose and belonging. Eckhart's teachings offer a timeless compass, guiding us back to the source of true fulfillment, the divine spark that resides within each of us. Think of a bustling city street, a symphony of noise, movement, and distraction. Amidst the chaos, a single flower pushes through a crack in the pavement, a testament to the resilience of life, the persistent presence of beauty. Eckhart's teachings are like that flower, reminding us that even in the midst of our fast-paced, technology-driven world, the sacred still whispers to us, inviting us to slow down, to listen, to reconnect with the ground of our being. His message transcends the boundaries of time and culture, speaking to a universal human longing for connection, meaning, and an experience of the divine that transcends the limitations of dogma and belief. Eckhart's teachings are not a retreat from the world, but a re-enchantment with it, an invitation to see the sacred in the everyday, the divine in the ordinary. Eckhart's influence can be felt in unexpected corners of modern thought and practice. His emphasis on the present moment, on cultivating inner stillness amidst the clamor of life, finds resonance in contemporary mindfulness practices. His teachings on detachment, on releasing our clinging to material possessions and fleeting desires, align with the growing movement towards minimalism and conscious consumption. Imagine a seed carried by the wind, landing in fertile soil miles from its source. Similarly, Eckhart's ideas have taken root in diverse spiritual traditions and secular philosophies, influencing contemporary teachers and thinkers who may not even realize the origins of their inspiration. His emphasis on experience over dogma, on direct encounter with the divine, resonates with the growing trend towards spiritual seeking outside the confines of organized religion. Eckhart's message of radical inclusivity, of recognizing the divine spark in every human being, speaks powerfully to a world grappling with division, intolerance, and violence. His teachings remind us that true spirituality transcends religious boundaries, calling us to cultivate a heart filled with love, compassion, and a deep reverence for all life. Meister Eckhart, a man born into a world vastly different from our own, speaks across the centuries with a message that feels both ancient and urgently contemporary. He challenges us to look beyond the surface of appearances, beyond the distractions of our fast-paced lives, to the deeper reality that connects us all. Eckhart reminds us that the journey to the God within is not a solitary pursuit, but a shared pilgrimage, a tapestry woven from the threads of countless lives all yearning for the light. Imagine gazing into a mirror and seeing not just your own reflection, but the faces of countless others reflected back at you. Ancestors, teachers, loved ones, strangers. Similarly, when we delve into the depths of our own being, we connect with the universal stream of consciousness, the shared longing for wholeness, for connection, for a love that transcends the limitations of time and space. Eckhart's teachings are a bridge between worlds, connecting us to the wisdom of the past and offering guidance for navigating the challenges of the present. His message is a timeless reminder that the path to awakening is always available to us, right here, right now, in the depths of our own hearts. Meister Eckhart, the 13th century mystic, stands before us not as a relic of the past, but as a mirror reflecting our own deepest longings and potentialities. His teachings, though ancient, resonate with a timeless wisdom that speaks directly to the core of our modern existence. He challenges us to look beyond the surface of our lives, beyond the roles we play, the possessions we accumulate, the identities we cling to, and to ask ourselves the question that echoed through his own life. What is it to be truly human? In a world that often values material success over spiritual fulfillment, Eckhart's message is a call to return to our true essence. What is it to live a life fully awake to the divine presence that surrounds us and resides within us? To be truly human, Eckhart suggests, is to recognize and embrace the divine spark within, to live in harmony with the sacredness of all life. Imagine gazing into a still pond, the surface reflecting the sky above, the clouds drifting by, the trees swaying gently in the breeze. This serene image invites us to pause and reflect on the deeper currents of our own lives. As you continue to gaze, you notice something else. A subtle movement beneath the surface, a depth and clarity that belies the ever-changing reflections above. This depth symbolizes the profound inner reality that Eckhart encourages us to explore. That depth, that stillness, represents the ground of our being, the divine spark that Eckhart invites us to discover within ourselves. It is a call to connect with the eternal, to find peace and purpose beyond the transient nature of our daily lives. His teachings are not a set of rules to follow or beliefs to embrace, but an invitation to embark on a journey of self-discovery, a pilgrimage to the heart of our own being. This journey is both inward and outward, a quest to understand our place in the universe and our connection to all living things. Eckhart reminds us that the path to awakening is not linear, but a spiral that leads us ever deeper into the mystery of who we are, revealing the interconnectedness of all life and the boundless love that binds us together. This spiral journey is one of continuous growth and transformation, where each step brings us closer to the divine truth within. As we walk this path, we are invited to see the world with new eyes, to recognize the sacred in the ordinary, and to live with a sense of wonder and gratitude. Eckhart's mirror reflects not just our potential, but the infinite possibilities that lie within each moment, urging us to live fully and authentically. In an age often characterized by fragmentation, isolation, and spiritual restlessness, Meister Eckhart's teachings offer a balm for the soul, a path to wholeness that addresses a hunger that transcends time and culture. His message resonates deeply with our modern sensibilities, not because it offers easy answers or a passive faith, but because it speaks to a universal human longing, a longing for connection, for meaning, for an experience of the divine that is immediate, personal, and transformative. Imagine a single drop of water returning to the ocean, merging with the vastness, becoming one with the source. That drop, like each of us, carries within it the essence of the whole, a spark of the infinite. Eckhart's teachings remind us that we are not isolated individuals, but integral parts of a larger web of being. His message is a call to awaken from the illusion of separation, to recognize the interconnectedness of all life, and to live from a place of deep compassion and understanding. Eckhart's legacy is not found in dusty scriptures or theological debates, but in the countless lives touched by his radical vision of a God who dwells not in distant heavens, but in the depths of every human heart. Meister Eckhart's life and teachings offer a potent reminder that the journey to the God within is not a destination, but an ongoing process of awakening. It's a journey of stripping away layers of conditioning, of confronting our shadows, of embracing the fullness of who we are, both light and shadow, human and divine. Eckhart's legacy is not a static set of doctrines, but a living tradition of inquiry, experience, and transformation, an invitation to embark on our own unique path to wholeness. Imagine a tiny seed planted in the darkness of the earth. It contains within it the blueprint for a magnificent tree. Yet it requires nourishment, sunlight, and time to reach its full potential. Similarly, each of us carries within us the seed of awakening, the divine spark that yearns to blossom into its full glory. Eckhart's teachings provide the nourishment, the sunlight, and the encouragement to tend to that seed, to cultivate the ground of our being through practices of silence, detachment, and surrender. As we surrender to this process of inner transformation, we become vessels of the divine, radiating love, compassion, and wisdom into the world. Meister Eckhart's legacy is a gift, an invitation, a challenge whispered across the centuries. His words, though ancient, resonate with a timeless truth that beckons us to explore the depths of our own souls. It's a call to awaken to the truth of who we are, beings made in the image and likeness of the divine, imbued with a spark of the infinite. This awakening is not just a momentary realization, but a lifelong journey of discovery and transformation. His teachings remind us that the kingdom of heaven is not a distant realm, but a reality that is always available to us, right here, right now, in the depths of our own hearts. It is a state of being that we can access through mindfulness, prayer, and a deep connection to our inner selves. Imagine standing on a mountaintop, gazing out at a vast and breathtaking vista. The air is crisp, and the world below seems both distant and intimately connected to you. The sun is setting, painting the sky in hues of gold, crimson, and violet. Each color blends seamlessly into the next, creating a masterpiece that speaks to the soul. As you witness this breathtaking display, you feel a sense of awe, of wonder, of connection to something far greater than yourself. This moment of transcendence is a reminder of the divine presence that permeates all of existence. That feeling, Eckhart reminds us, is a taste of our true inheritance, a glimpse of the divine reality that surrounds us and resides within us. It is an invitation to live in harmony with this divine presence, to let it guide our thoughts, actions, and interactions with others. His teachings are not a set of rules to follow or beliefs to embrace, but an invitation to open our hearts, to experience the divine in our everyday lives. It is about cultivating a sense of reverence and gratitude for the simple yet profound moments that make up our existence, to cultivate a deep and abiding connection with the source of all being, to recognize the sacred in the mundane and to find peace in the midst of life's challenges, and to live lives that reflect the love, compassion, and wisdom that flow from that connection. This connection empowers us to act with kindness, to seek justice, and to contribute positively to the world around us. As we embrace this divine inheritance, we become agents of healing and transformation, not just for ourselves, but for our communities and the world at large. Our actions, inspired by this divine connection, have the power to create ripples of change, contributing to the creation of a more just, compassionate, and awakened world. In this way, Eckhart's teachings continue to inspire and guide us, urging us to live with purpose, love, and a deep sense of interconnectedness with all of creation.